time this morning, Joe. I mean, BetQL Daily is a huge thing, and it was cool to go on with you guys and talk AFC Championship. Did you have anything, just to start our conversation on that, anything I said surprise you or that you wanted to play off of today?
No, I thought it was some good insight, and we were having some debates on Bills players with prop bets, and then you brought us a little bit of, I think, clarity, but also it's opinion. So
yep.
That is understandable. I have seen a lot of people kind of say lower scoring game, and I'm with you. With the conditions that we're expecting to see, it's probably going to be the Allen Mahomes shootout that many people want. I was wondering, as I brought up to you on the show today, about the tight end position. Like, what are we going to do? Are we finally going to see a Kincaid game? And after talking to you earlier and hearing the last segment, like, no, we are never, ever going to see the Kincaid game that many people have been waiting on for so long. I like Knox a lot more. I was debating him, and we know the Chiefs, how they have struggled against the tight end position this year. Dead last in the NFL. Look, we're not asking for much. It's 13.5 yards for Knox. And for an anytime touchdown, it's 7-1. So that is certainly something that is, okay, it's not on my radar. I'm going to bet it after talking to you.
I just said to Joe and Sam, like, Kincaid is not a tight end. He should not count as somebody that you factor into the tight end stats because he really doesn't play that position. He plays half the snaps. Knox is playing more snaps than Kincaid, by the way. So, I don't think
has that been game over game, or was that just the Baltimore game? I know the Baltimore game he outsnapped him, but I don't know that it's
been close all year, kind of. I think I don't know. I will look, but that was a game they had to have.
Yeah,
and that's what they did.
I did see Kincaid make a really good block on one running play that I yelled, oh, look, he's actually doing the thing that you got to do there.
But we can't feed our families on blocks.
Right. Right. Joe, I said at the end of last segment, my first thought on this game and, something that is rattling around in my head here is, like, I think, most likely you see a game where Mahomes and Allen are trading. And, these two defenses really can't keep up, and it's that kind of game. But I feel like that is predicated on the Chiefs' reputation more than it is what they have looked like for almost the entirety of this season. And because of that, but despite that, it's still, to me, the most likely outcome is that, because Mahomes is great, he'll find a way, and whatever. Maybe some guy we've never really thought about will come through for Kansas City in the passing game or something. I don't know. But riding right behind that trading bombs idea is kind of a comfortable one side, like a comfortable Bills win, because the Chiefs' offense has not been as good as the Bills' offense all year, like I'm saying. So I think the next most likely thing to me is 30-20 or something, like a 10-point, kind of like the game here that the Bills and Chiefs played.
Season.
Yeah, right. I mean, they needed the late score to make it a 9-point game, but they got it. I don't know. I just, that's the kind of game I'm thinking about here.
You aren't wrong about anything that you're saying. The MVP conversation. When did Mahomes exit it? In the middle of the year? Like, wasn't even part of it at all. And that's because of the numbers. And once we were getting the larger sample size, people are like, okay, I get it. Last week, he didn't even throw for 200 yards. Now, that's a very tough matchup, tougher than they're going to see this week against the Bills in the Texans, but it's not like he had an unbelievable game. Now, we got playoff Kelsey. So that makes me think, okay, maybe that guy is going to take it to the level that many of us have been expecting for the playoffs or just waiting for Kansas City all season long, getting his 20th playoff touchdown, and before it's all said and done, he's going to break Jerry Rice's postseason records. Like, that's how impressive he's been. So I thought that was interesting, but it's not like Mahomes had this lights out game. And where else is it going to go? Now, they've been getting healthier at the right time, but outside of Kelsey, where's it going to go? We didn't really see it that much last week. I thought this one number was interesting. Just maybe it's more from a prop perspective or somebody else to look out for, because you guys had mentioned Worthy earlier in the show. And I think a lot of people are looking for those gadget players on Kansas City, Andy Reid, just what you're not expecting coming out of nowhere. Stuckey over at the Action Network had mentioned this, and I thought it was pretty interesting, that going into the playoffs this year, if you look at their last 20 playoff games, in 19 of the 20 playoff games, they had non-traditional receivers running the ball. So, so Worthy at a prop of 2.5 rushing yards was something that stood out. And, maybe sometimes you make a big play. We had a conversation about Super Bowl MVP, and if you're going down the board, okay, let's go over Kansas City. Who's the guy? And a lot of people ended up on Worthy at about 70-1 as a super long shot.
Oh, buddy.
Idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
They have to win. I mean, I'm not going to – I have to say that here in Buffalo. I have to say that. But, Kadarius Toney was pretty close to Super Bowl MVP, or at least having an argument for it. But Mahomes hadn't won 3 yet. And so now – if they get there, we'll just cap this here. But if they get there,
thank you.
I would love somebody else on the Chiefs. The random defensive player is always an idea for Super Bowl MVP, and that could be anybody. Like yesterday, we talked about this for a minute. Anybody comes up with 2 interceptions or 3 sacks or something, and it's a lower scoring game, then maybe they win.
Yeah.
But I think better chance. This is why Lamar Jackson will not win the regular season MVP award this year. And how did that go? But I think better chance it's a Chiefs player who does that in that game than a Bills player. Because if it's a Bills player, it's still Allen winning his first. And, Mahomes didn't have a great game when they beat San Francisco the first time. Damian Williams might have deserved that award, but Mahomes got it.
Yeah, defensive players, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen once in a while. I took a couple of long shots last week, and I could tell you what those numbers are now. I did take a KC player. I took Chris Jones at 170-1 last week, and now I think he's about 120. You could find him as high as. He could be that. Yes, it's going to be tough to beat Mahomes. It's going to be tough to beat Kelsey. I get all that. But maybe he could have that Von Miller type of game. And also Jalen Carter last week was 650-1, and now he's 120-1 after having an outstanding game last week in the Eagles' victory. So yeah, it happens once in a while. If you can get a big number like triple digits, certainly worth a look as far as that goes.
Weren't you two on Bosa last year?
I was waiting to say there was a year here where I liked that idea. We've been doing this long enough that I remember
last year.
It was just last year. Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah, Von Miller was the last one where it's come through. It's tough. It's tough. I did take James Cook too. It's been a while. Who's the last running back to be the Super Bowl MVP? Do you guys know that?
Ooh, I want to know. Wow. Terrell Davis.
Yes. 1998. Very good.
You have a mini helmet? Is that how you?
No, I didn't. I started to collect them all, and then I decided I didn't want anybody like the Brady Manning guys, so I stopped at the first 30. But I have the first 30. But Terrell Davis against Green Bay is the last one. That's good. That's a good question.
That's shocking. So I was thinking about that because obviously took a dart throw on James Cook, and then just the Eagles. So who's the most likely Eagle? The odds are always going to be the shortest on the quarterback.
That's good. That's good.
I think they should be the shortest on Saquon.
Me too.
Yeah. So he's 5-1, and Hurts is also 5-1. If you don't mind a shorter number, and the number is saying the Eagles are going to win and play in the Super Bowl. It's a 6-point spread in this game. What is that number next week? It's going to be pretty darn short. Maybe he's going to be the second favorite on the board. That could be the case. So, yeah, I think Saquon this week, 5-1 because of that number. It makes sense. Like, that's going to go down. And why would it not happen with a guy that had over 2,000 rushing yards? And look at the playoff he's put together. You would assume everything's going to go through him again if they make the Super Bowl.
Good stuff.
Where is Jaden Daniels in all this?
Jaden Daniels, well, it's funny. Basically, the Super Bowl MVP number for Jaden Daniels is the same as the Commanders' Super Bowl win number. Like, there's no difference, and that makes sense. If they're going to win it, it's going to be because of Daniels. I don't see how they could win the Super Bowl, and he's not the MVP. It's 8-1 for both of those numbers.
So you just bet the team?
Yeah, I would just bet the team. Yeah.
You like him at all this week?
No. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I'm not there. But it could. I mean, listen, he has that high ceiling where it could happen. We're talking about a spot with the fourth straight road game. I think about the difference of going on the road and facing a Lions defense with a lot of backups throughout the year, as opposed to this Vic Fangio defense with Jalen Carter in the middle going against a backup guard now because of the Cosme injury. I don't think it's going to be great for the Commanders, even though I shouldn't doubt them. The fourth down rate, I don't know how much longer this can continue with what they're doing every game, but I think it's going to be a different situation.
For me, the biggest reason to doubt them, Joe, is that they're new, and like that just shouldn't happen. Like, you shouldn't just show up like this with a rookie quarterback and make the Super Bowl. It's not unprecedented, but it's very rare. And so, like, that's in my head. But on the other side of that is point well taken on the Eagles' defense. How much do you trust Hurts? How healthy is he? And their passing game, like they've been kind of janky for a while on offense, in and out. Like, so I don't know. Like, to me, they're susceptible to just a bad day.
100%. How healthy is Hurts? How healthy is A.J. Brown? He has been a no-show in the playoffs. He's clearly still dealing with the knee. He has 24 yards in 2 playoff games. He's done absolutely nothing so far. So, yeah, that is definitely a concern, and it's understandable, and I think everything is once again going to go through Saquon. I don't expect them to run Hurts as much as they normally do throughout the season. And you look at Saquon's last 4 games, he's averaging 30 touches. He demolished this Commanders defense in the regular season as well. So I don't really expect that to change with what he's done. 348 total yards in their 2 matchups for Saquon.
Joe, not so much a question about the numbers or the odds, but as we talked about for a moment this morning, the stakes when it comes to the Bills and the Chiefs and what we'll be talking about, what football fans will have to work with for the next year based on the outcome of this game, what Bills fans will have to work with. I mean, it is so time for them to win. They have beaten Kansas City in the regular season 4 years in a row. And, like, who wants to even talk about that unless they win this game? I mean, if they don't, they will have lost 4 out of 5 years to Kansas City in the playoffs. The Chiefs have lost 7 home games in the last 4 regular seasons, 3 against the Bills. Like, you know how it is. I mean, whether we got into this business to be on camera or not, we got into it to talk about this kind of thing, like the legacy stuff. And this is just a classic example of a game of that importance.
It's remarkable. So when is it going to turn? And I know that's how you guys are framing this and talking about it. Is it going to be time? Since the day the season started, we were talking about this moment, right? It's in the back of everyone's mind. Even though, maybe nationally the expectation was for the Bills to take a step back, here we are again, AFC Championship at Arrowhead, and they've done it in the regular season. It's just a matter of doing it this time of year. And I know with the way that things went last week that everybody's, oh, here we go again. And even Troy Aikman was so bothered by it. I thought that was quite amusing. But, yeah, man, I can't wait. This is why we're in the business. This is why we're all football fans. I like the Bills in the game. I think the best bet is the teaser. I hooked that teaser in a lot of ways last week because you got the Bills at plus 7.5. Like, every game I could find, I'm like, let's tease it with the Bills. And you can get them plus 8 right now. If you like Philly, you just need Philly to win the game if you want to make that combo there. But love that. I like Allen to score an anytime touchdown. I think over 9.5 rush attempts, also not a bad look as well, as teams have certainly run on the Chiefs with mobile quarterbacks throughout the playoffs and much of the year.
I saw quickly, Joe, Alex Gold from KC tweet that, like, Bills money line is the number 1 most bet and the Kansas City money line is the number 3. Is it true that, like, nobody bets the spread when it's 2 or less? You just bet money lines?
I do, but
you tease it.
It's popular. Yeah, I'll tease it. And If I think this game's going down to the last possession and getting the +2, I don't mind paying the 10 cents, the -110. So I'll do that. I don't mind it. It's funny, though. I would be careful with that because every sports book, the action is different. So I don't know which sports book Alex was getting that information with. For instance, the other day, we got that same information, in this case from BetMGM, and the most popular bet was Commanders' money line. So you never know. And you also have to consider, okay, which states are legal with that sports book and where are they exactly? Because if they're in, Pennsylvania and they're not in the D.C. area, that's going to be thrown off.
Right.
Only so many times you can knock on the door, Joe. Time to walk through. Right, so, that's what this game. There's a lot of. I think I've been thinking it for a while more about Allen and the MVP than it was like their entire season. But it's time. It's time. There's Chiefs fatigue. These teams are both good. They've been button heads here for 5 years. It's time. I would understand if a fan that is tired of the Chiefs turns this game on Sunday night and the Bills let everybody down again. Just come on, Bills. It's not quite like there's 4 Super Bowls in a row, that kind of fatigue. But really, the opportunity they have here is just it's as good an opportunity as I think they could ever have hoped for. I mean,
totally agree.
You'd like to be at home, sure, right? Yeah, come on, somebody hit a field goal, whatever, ding the Chiefs a couple times, and maybe we're just sitting here with our feet up waiting for KC to come to town. But all the same, I think they've been the better team all year, so just go do it.
Something we've talked about before, but I see it now more than ever, and you guys are in the eye of the storm, so maybe you don't even think about this, but just from being outside of the area, I feel like the Bills are the national team, America's team now. I see more Bills fans, even in the Midwest, than I ever have before. I'm in the dentist chair for an hour and a half yesterday, and my dentist is talking about how her husband is a crazy Bills fan at the game against the Ravens this weekend, and she was a little concerned. I'm like, what are you worried about? She's like, well, a few years ago we got this new TV, and they lost to the Chiefs in overtime in the playoffs. He won't watch that TV. We have this TV sitting there. And so the concern is there is a new TV arriving on Saturday, the day before the game. He's going to get it all set up. She's like, Joe, what if they lose? We got to get another TV. He's never going to watch it. He might smash it.
Good thing that your dentist is this person's spouse and not him, because I don't think I'd want that guy working on my teeth.
No, you get your mouth pried open, you get those tools, and he's just
I can't watch my TV anymore because
right.
I don't think I could have that. But the spouse, I guess that's fine. Joe, thanks for this, and also the invite this morning. It was really fun. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Talk next week about the Bills Super Bowl matchup.
Let's go. Joe Ostrowski, BetQL Daily, also Sundays with Jason Lockenfora. You can hear his content on our station locally, the Bet 1520, although I don't think they have their own local stream. You could stream BetQL.
That's correct. Right.
Though, if you want to see Joe and Sam, and in today's case, me.